So, before we move acceptance from a consent agenda perspective of all of the reports that we have provided, I wanted to open up the floor to all of you and ask, are there any questions that you have as a result of the report? And just to refresh your memories, you heard some opening comments and a summary of my report. You heard from Karen Nelson regarding social and professional advocacy. You heard from Keith Adamson regarding the dollars. You heard from Mary Kay Lucier regarding the Vice President of Branch Affairs. Have I missed anybody? Joan. Oh, and Joan. And Joan. About everything else and all that we really do. So are there any questions from the floor? Because I really want to give you an opportunity. Yes, and please identify yourselves because you'd like to know who you are.
I'm Sally Palmer from the Hamilton branch.
Hi, Sally.
I want to applaud the social advocacy efforts that are reflected in the report. But I have one sort of suggestion coming from the budget that we heard about on May the 2nd. Now maybe it's too late.
Sally, we're going to give you a mic. Thank you very much.
Is it? Oh, good. All right. So, as people know, on May the 2nd, the government produced a budget. And some of the things that we advocated for in relation to earnings and asset levels were in the budget, which was good. However, there was one glaring omission, and that was single people on Ontario Works who are getting much less than they were in 1993. And the government's own commission, the Social Assistance Reform Commission, recommended that this group be given a $100 immediate raise, and they gave them instead a $20 raise. The same 1%, the others got plus another $14. And I'd like to see our advocacy committee comment on that. I noticed you have contacts with Kevin Beacon, who's the Minister of Community Social Services, and I think he needs to hear that we're very disappointed.
Yes, we do have an ongoing relationship with Minister McMeekin, and we're going to continue to meet with him. We've been pushing hard on the social assistance review, wondering when it's going to come to fruition. And I think everything, quite frankly, has been in a state of suspended animation, awaiting to see whether the budget would be passed and the government would continue. So now that we know that the government's going to continue at least until the fall, and perhaps for a little bit longer, we can now revisit that discussion with him. We've invited ourselves to participate in a consultation group that he's going to be putting together, and by that I mean we've said, hey, we really want to be on that, and he's heard that not only from us directly but through his policy advisors. So yes, we're disappointed, and we're certainly happy to continue to convey that message around advocating for those who are at the margins, who are getting the least amount of attention. Though I think there is an intentionality there. I think there was a reticence to get too generous with the dollars because they didn't want to rock the proverbial boat. That's just my take on it. Now I'm going to ask, Karen, did you have any thoughts about that? And Joan? So I'm looking at you because you do social and professional advocacy, not to put you on the spot. No. And Joan?
I was just going to add that I think that another opportunity has come our way. Thanks very much, Kate. Those of you who saw the Globe and Mail this morning saw that Calgary is embarking on a very ambitious program to reduce poverty. One of the cities in Canada with the lowest unemployment rate and the highest income rate, and they want to reduce poverty in the city by half. And this is something that we should be celebrating, or should be holding up as a suggestion, a recommendation, a plan for other parts of Ontario to be looking at. So I think anytime we see something that's a good idea somewhere, OASW needs to be out there applauding it, saying why we endorse it, and bringing it to the attention of Ontarians so they know what it is they need to be asking for in their local areas. So.
Just a couple of things. First of all, as Kate had indicated, we hope to be very involved in the implementation of the recommendations of the Commission's report, and can be more specific as we go along. And so we will definitely take note of what we just indicated. Secondly, and just following up on Karen in terms of what has transpired recently, people may have seen in the newspapers that the Canadian Medical Association has just conducted and is in the process of a tour across Canada. And what they are stating is that in terms of poverty and the social determinants of health, is a great indicator of health outcomes and health status. And so that really paves the way for social work to get involved, and it also puts quality on everybody's radar screen. So I think that's a very positive move by a very high-profile group.
Thank you, Jillian. We have time for one more question.
Hello, I'm Judy Weinberg. I'm a member from Toronto. I have been involved with a job seeking group at one point. It was through OASW, and I know OASW began to plan something around that. And I wondered how that had evolved and how that was going, because I did get some information requesting, if you're interested, how to connect in terms of mentorship and such. I also was going to suggest a very simple thing for the future. It would be great to have name tags, so that maybe even put at the bottom of the name tag the area that you are involved in or the work that you do, and that would help people to connect with others. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
It's not a question.
It's not a question, it's a comment. First of all, thanks for the suggestion, because that's the kind of feedback we're looking for. Appreciate that. And I think is this related to the question? It's not. Okay, going up on the left here.
Just a comment. This is my first AGM in over 20 years, OASW, because I moved to Saskatchewan and I've been there for 29 years. And I just wanted to say it's so good to see the association so alive and vibrant and so many people active. At one point, not too long ago, 2 years back I guess, I had a long phone conversation with Joe McKenzie Davies, who's been a marvelous executive director. And I should say that Rita and Jillian were there when I was there as well. And that it's good to see they stayed on. But the long conversation was about the decision to split with CASW. And I would like to hear more about that, not necessarily now I'll pin Joan down, but that was a disappointment from another province to think, oh, we've lost Ontario, and how will CASW survive? It's great to see that OASW has survived, and it's wonderful because I was there when the check was signed for the mortgage, that it's paid off. And I can tell you, buying that building was huge.
I appreciate your kind comments and your closing of the loop of something that started a long time ago. That's so complete. Thank you for that. And so back to the employment working, or the employment group, the job seeking group, I think is what it's called. And that's just so for people who may not know, that's for folks who are seeking employment, often new grads, but not exclusively new grads. And the association recognizing that the climate to do that currently is particularly challenging, and we're trying to provide some support. Again, it's that value piece. And at a conference a couple of years ago, not the one in 2012, but the one in 2010, I just remember having many conversations with prospective or new grads saying, how do we get started? What direction do we start in? So that's where this job seeking group emerged from. And I'm not sure who to turn to, because I don't know enough detail to answer that well. So I'm going to turn to Joan, because she can do a better job. No pressure.
We do have a job coaching group, and it's actually going very well. It's matching people who are job seekers with people who are in the field, and we will be reporting formally on that at some point. But it's an expanding program, and we've put an outreach to areas such as community development and a number of areas where we don't have mentors. But it's been very, very effective and helpful. Yes, on. Sure.
I'm actually an mentor in the Eastern region, and it's a great way, just my little infomercial plug, if you're not able to sit on a board, to give the time to a recent grad or someone moving to your community, or deciding to get back into the field. It's a great way to mentor someone and develop some leadership skills and make some connections. I truly value the opportunities to meet with the new social workers and making that transition to the community. So it's a small thing you can do, so highly recommend you do it.
Thank you, Bonnie. And thank you for your questions, and I know there are more. We're on a tight timeline. We have a keynote coming to speak with us. So I'm going to move us forward, and if you'd like to connect afterwards, we're going to be around, so please do. I'd love to continue the conversation, Sheila, around the issue that you posed, so we're happy to do that. So, by way of bringing this portion to the close, which is the reports portion, I'm going to ask for approval of all of the reports that were presented at the AGM. I'm going to ask for someone to move that approval and a seconder. And please identify yourselves. I love going out. Sorry?
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay, Rita knows. Sorry, hearing's not so good. Thank you very much. And could I have a seconder, please? Debbie? Debbie Davis. All in favor? Thank you. Any opposed? The motion is carried. Thank you very, very much. So I'm also going to ask for a motion to approve all acts and deeds of the Board of Directors during 2012-13 term. Could I have a mover, please? Sue? Cooperstock. Thank you very much. A seconder, please? Shira, you're here. Hello, Shira.
But she can't.
Shira, you can't, sorry.
Because you are
We're
on the
thrilled
board.
you're here, but you cannot.
A nice thought.
Pat, I don't think you can. Julie, you can. Julie? Julie Foley? Thank you. All in favor? Sorry, Pat.
Can't approve yourself.
You can't approve yourself. Well, you can, but not in this form, I'm afraid. So, sorry. I'm being very disruptive. I'm off script. I'm so sorry. So, all in favor? Any against? Motion approved. So thank you very much to everyone. We're going to close the business portion of the AGM, and we're going to go on to what I truly believe is the fun stuff. Oh no, I have to do the bylaw amendment. Sorry. That's what happens when I go off script. And Rita even warned me about that. So, Rita, I just need this. So we have an amendment to the bylaws. Now, it is in your AGM package, so I'm not going to read through everything. I'm going to try to give you a bit of context, and it's about the membership piece. It's section 7, subsection 3, membership qualifications for professional membership from current wording. It's on a yellow sheet in your AGM, in your annual report package. And essentially what we're doing is wanting to acknowledge that if people do not meet the criteria that currently exist, which are outlined in subsections A, B, B1, and B2, and I'm not going to read them all, forgive me, I'm just not. What we want to include is a registered social worker with the Ontario College of Social Workers and Social Service Workers. Because ultimately, if the college determines that somebody is an RSW, then that's certainly more than adequate for us. So we just wanted to include that in the bylaws because it wasn't there. So I'm going to move for approval of the amendment to the bylaw. Could I have someone move that amendment? Thank you, Lori. Lori Shine. And could I have a seconder, please? And I'm looking for new names. That's Kathy Farrell. Not a new name, but new today. Any discussion about that? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much. Now are we done?
Yes, we are.
Now we are officially done the business section of the meeting. And I thank you all for your contributions. It's great. So we have some